Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Doing a little port work on this 026 cylinder. Thought I'd take you guys along. Right now all I've done is cut the lip out from this muffler. If I can get it in the frame. They'll have like a lip that goes around, and some of these mufflers will have a baffle or a cage inside of them. I picked one that didn't have that to make my life a little easier. We're just mainly gonna, I've got the gasket in there too. It is a metal shimmed gasket. We're going to mainly do a little muffler matching here. This cutter is very, very aggressive. It's very, very grabby. So you'll have to bear with me. There's where we're at. Kind of looks rough. It's going to till we get it all cleaned and blended back in. Right, I've changed hand pieces, got a different cutter on. Try to make this look a little better. The real blend in work will come when I pull the muffler off, but right now it's looking pretty jagged. You can tell that cutter is nowhere near as aggressive. Sides ain't that bad, it's mainly the roof and the floor. I mean, it ain't bad, but alright, maybe we can get this muffler off now. That's real ugly. It really ain't that bad once we get the bridge or the step in the top blended in. And there's a kind of a lump there in the center of the bottom. We get all that smoothed out and blended in. Should be looking a lot better. Kind of wish I'd have picked a cutter that wasn't near as aggressive, and I wouldn't be having to do as much cleanup work now. That little lump is in the muffler too, and I'll have to knock it down, but it doesn't take real long, guys. But you can spend a lot of time on this stuff. You can see that lump that was in it's all but about gone. And this stuff don't have to be perfect. It ain't got to be perfectly symmetrical, but you also don't want it to look like you got in there with an angle grinder and shoot it up either. That's not too bad. I'll save the rest of that to do with the cartridge roll. The sides look pretty good, but you know what, let's do some blend work. Then we'll get to the roof and try to blend that bridge in, or blend the step in. I don't know why I keep saying bridge. Looking better and better. Again, it ain't got to be perfect. We're not porting a set of AFR 205s here. They're a big set of Brodix heads. It's a chainsaw cylinder, guys. But again, you don't want it to look like crap either. But I have done some that look like pure crap that ran really, really, really well. And I'm sure other people have too. I'm sure there's people sitting there going, yep, I have. I'm trying to stay away from the roof of that port like it's the plague. Because the timing on it's not quite where I want it to be, but it's way better than it was before I'd done the band work. Okay guys, so we're looking much better. There's still a little bit where that step was at, where I'd opened that up to the muffler. But it is all but blended in. Most of the roughness, which it's rough as a cob right now because it's just mill finish. But I'm going to go in right now. I've worked my way back. We're going to take a few swipes off of the side of that to break the plating loose to widen the port. I'm not going to go crazy. Not looking to do a screamer here, but we do want it to scavenge pretty good, where I have lowered the cylinder further, so we need to widen the port to where it can scavenge at least as good as it was before we done any machine work. If any of that makes any sense to you at all. Alright. Really should be holding that where I can look inside, but hey, we're trying to film. I gotta have a look to see how far to do the other side. Alright. The best way really to do that is to put a mandrel in or a piston and mark the port. But I've done so many 26s, I about know what to do. So the next thing for us to do is change to a different handpiece and go in with a cartridge roll or sandpaper roll, whatever you want to call it, and do some really, really fine cleanup work, and then we'll finish with either some sandpaper on a slotted mandrel or just peel back, you know, a half worn out cartridge roll. And it all kind of does the same thing. It'll knock down a lot of imperfections, just make the port look really good. But there is a place in the roof of that where it kind of pulled a little metal. I'll do what I can with it, but it's like that old saying, the more you stir something, the worse it stinks. So again, back to, it ain't got to be perfect, but you don't want it to look like it was done with an angle grinder either. The kit I normally order with them rolls was like 3 times higher than it used to be, so I ordered those, and they are a little small, but for this application they're going to work pretty good. About the right shape I would want on the sides of the port. So let's see if we can do some blend work here. We make sure you guys are in frame. You're probably close enough. Wrong pedal. That pedal over here where I can use it. That is a repaired Fordham cable. I've got the cable spliced back together at the top. I'd ordered a new cable and it broke on this end. I was just polishing a cylinder. The place I bought it from said it was an actual Fordham cable, but I don't know. Who knows? We're going to take that same roll. I've got it peeled back. I hope I got you guys in frame. I'm going to check, because I all but knocked the camera off. I think the last time I tried the video porting here in this area, I kind of liked the other shop better for that, because we could do live porting a lot easier. Let's see. Alright, we've grabbed focus on the cylinder, so we should be good. Get this light back out of the way. And have at it. We got that same roll. I think those were 120 rolls. I'll have to double check and make sure, but they were they're for an 1/8 inch mandrel. They're 1 inch long, maybe not even quite 1 inch long. I think they were 1 inch and 1/4 inch. You can fit those into a lot of places on a cylinder. But we have that peeled back, so it's kind of working like a flap wheel. And I'll go on the inside of the port and all with that, because it starts to break the edge, if that makes sense. These are really nice finish. I'll post little shorts of this stuff and people say, you need a more aggressive cutter, you're not removing enough. You really don't want to remove a whole lot. We've opened this port up significantly, but I've seen guys take them, and I've done it myself, to where they're as thin as the thickness of that fin. How do you expect a gasket to seal up around that? And they don't, they leak. She ain't a mirror, but hey, she ain't half bad either. So there's a couple little places in it. Is it 100% symmetrical? No, but I've never done it and never will. I'm not going to sit with the square and draw lines. And we started with the muffler and the muffler gasket and got it good enough. And there's what that looks like from the inside. She should scavenge. Should do really well. I guess we'll move on to the next port. Guys, I got some lines drawn on the upper transfer. Some of these cables out of the way, out of the view of the camera anyway. Get that back out of the way. Switch hand pieces. I'm not going to use the right angle just yet. I really like starting the uppers and getting them to where they need to go with something like that. I've shown that in other videos. I know some people said they had trouble finding those, but there's boxes of them sitting at our Harbor Freight. Works really good. These don't have to go too far. I'm wanting to try to keep them as flat as I can. Those move a lot of material really fast. We're getting close where we're at right now. I'll go back in and do some blend work with the right angle, but for now that'll work. We'll move to the other side. What we're taking away is probably about the thickness of a good Sharpie. And the cool thing about diamond abrasives, if you slip and hit that cylinder, if it's a good cylinder with good hard plating, it's not going to phase it at all unless you like really push and gouge on it. And there's where we're at with that one. So we'll take the right angle in now and kind of blend everything in. We're still pretty dang flat there. I'll probably go in at the right angle and see if I can scoop some out of the very back of it. I'm kind of trying to lean more toward every way I can for torque on this build. We have lowered the exhaust roof. It's lower, that and the CCs of the saw. I want them to run the saw with a lightweight 24-inch bar and a skip tooth chain, which shouldn't be a problem, but we still want to retain as much torque in this build as we can. Okay, so I'm going to spray some spray lubrication in here with that right angle. Probably should have with the other two. Just kind of looked over and seen it there. It ain't got to be soaking wet, but you know, what's it going to hurt? Alright. Let's see. Mainly out toward the intake side of things, it needs a little bit of blend work, but other than that, it's not looking bad. I kind of like to drag that transfer down toward the intake side. Now I'm in the back of that port working and dragging. It was there from the factory in the casting. That's not looking bad at all. looking pretty good, really. Right, guys, let's work that other side a little. They're not bad. You probably could have just left them alone. Alright guys, the lowers. This is a part where a lot of people I think get carried away. I used to in the past. And you know, we could take a junk cylinder, a cheap cylinder rather I should say, and maybe do a video where we actually see if cutting on the lowers actually does anything. But I've done a bunch of saws, a whole lot of saws in the last 3 or 4 years without even touching the lowers. And I'm talking this Stihl pocket transfer, and I'm saying if they look that good. That pocket looks really good. There's no real lip overhang or anything. Now this other side, if the camera will pick it up, there is one little like casting imperfection dead in the center of it, but it's like a line. It ain't gonna hurt a thing, I promise you. We're just not going to touch the lowers here. We're going to move on to the intake port. I don't want to lose any of my case compression at all, which I mean we could clean those up, texture them. It's not going to do a thing to hurt anything, but I really don't think it's going to do a thing to help either. Alright. So we're going to pull some timing out of the floor of it, and we make sure I've got you guys. Looks close enough. We might widen a little. I don't need much. I only want about 3 degrees out of it, which ain't much, probably 25 thousandths. Alright guys, I've got the floor of that set where I want it to be set, so we're going to go in and do a little fine detail work, some texture work. Back to a cartridge roll. I actually started the rough cutter and then went in with a diamond abrasive to smooth things up. Got the timing right where I needed it to be. So now we're going to see if we can get some light on it. You run those things slow, they're pretty aggressive. I know back when I first started doing these, and there's even video on the channel of me showing it, which I put pinned comments and everything into those videos. But I have newer updated videos, but people still watch the old ones. I used to go in and just hog every bit of this out. You don't have to do that. Those engineers knew what they were doing. This is just fine texture work. What I like to do, it's not the last thing I'm going to do. There'll be 2 other steps to this, but I've got a cartridge roll here that's, I'm going to end up knocking that camera completely off of there. I'll be lucky if any of you guys can see any of this, but cartridge roll that's got some wire. I'll go in and break the edges to all my ports. basically the same thing as taking a diamond ball around it, but makes it a lot easier. Then after I do this, we'll go in with a piece of sandpaper. Usually end up with a really nice bevel. This is one part of it I'll stress that you need to do. Whether you do it sandpaper by hand or a diamond ball, or what I'm doing here, this is, like I said, I'll take it a step further and we'll hit the intake port a little because the rings do drop down in it a little bit from what I remember. The lower ring. Sandpaper, again, this is a part I want to stress. You can scratch up new piston. That can cause the ring to hang. One little bitty burr can wreck all of this work. Now I'm going to tell you guys, when I cut the band on this, the plating up top, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. There's a few places in it I don't like, but what is this thing? This thing's probably getting close to as old as I am. Probably not that old, but I bet it's over 30 years old. Easily, if not 35. Heat cycle after heat cycle. How many times has it been rebuilt? You'll know when them ports are right. You go to feeling smooth. And I mean, I'm kind of not really exaggerating this to the full extent. Like, I'll go over this more off camera, but just to give you an idea of what goes into this. And I spent one whole afternoon here making mandrels. I spent an afternoon doing the machine work, getting it the way I wanted it. And I've spent another afternoon here doing the port work. So when you get a quote from somebody for doing a saw, especially if they're doing all of this, then I'll put sandpaper around the whole cylinder. I've had a little ball home that's about wore out that I'll run in that because we got a new piston with new rings going in. Alright guys, the finished product, there's one part, that exhaust port ain't caring for, and that's down here. It ain't making or breaking it, but if that was somebody's cylinder, I would sit and work with it till I got that out and blended in, but it's mine. It'll be just fine. Inside look at that again. Again, didn't see much of a need to touch the lowers. Uppers turned out really good, exactly how I wanted them, right where I wanted them. Intake port, we ever so slightly widened that, very little, lowered the floor and put a texture in it. About all that was done. And we went in and rebeveled all of our ports and sanded them. So this one's ready to go on the saw, guys. I've got to do a little work with a piston, I think. I'm not going to do anything crazy, just run a cartridge roll around it, or a piece of sandpaper, and any sharp edges. From what I remember when I put it on there the other night, it was pretty good. So we're just going to double check it and then get the clips in it and get this cylinder glued down on there. But anyway guys, I done a video similar to this, so except for I was wearing the earliest of GoPros on my head and the footage of it was horrible. That thing still gets traffic and still earns revenue, so why not do another one? Anyway guys, y'all have a good one.